What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Ghostbusters podcast. I'm the Ghostbuster Dad, and today we are joined by Cal. Cal, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. Just sitting here and catching ghosts.
Heck yeah. And so, what made you become a Ghostbuster fan, Cal?
Well, it started out when I was about 7 years old. My dad was watching me, mess around with action figures and all that stuff, and he goes, maybe I should try to get this kid into movies. And my mom was just like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. See, get him started on Ghostbusters, because I remember you watched that as a kid, and I'm like, listening to my dad tell me this story, because this is also what I told everybody else. He comes up to me. I'm sitting there playing with my little robot toy or whatever, and my dad comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, want to watch a little movie with me?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah." And next thing we walk in the living room and he goes, "Okay, I'm going to show you this. This was a cartoon back when I was a kid, and it also became a very popular thing back when I was about your age." And I said, "Okay." And he showed me the real Ghostbusters, and I was just like, I fell in love with the cartoon because I was just like, oh my god, this is really cool. And pretty soon I was just like, yeah. And then my dad noticed that I started liking Egon Spengler because Egon's my favorite guy. Rest in peace, Harold Ramis. God, I miss that guy. Yeah. But he then goes, okay, now that he's been adjusted to the cartoons, and the next couple of days later, he shows me the first ever Ghostbusters film. And when I saw that, I was just like, oh my god, this movie's amazing. And so after that, I just got hooked onto it.
Right.
And then next thing you know, I started asking my dad to play the scene, like the theme song every day until he got tired of it.
That's about how my son got started, too. I introduced him to it, and he instantly fell in love with it, man. And that was his thing for like the longest time. He wanted to listen to the song over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. And then another thing is that after I started messing around with Legos, I started to become very engineering minding, like an engineering mind of some sort. That's what my family says that I have. I mean, they're not wrong, but they started noticing that I started building like these little replicas of the ghost trap, the PKE meter, the proton pack itself, surprisingly, but that just did not last long.
Yeah.
But shortly after that, I started going from cardboard, and I then began making my own cardboard proton pack, and that's actually the first one that you'll probably see, like, right here. Yeah, this one right here.
Let's bring it a little closer. Let's see it.
Yeah, I have two versions of the MOD blaster. The one is the one that I custom made, and then the one is the before. And then I have that small one that goes with the little Afterlife proton pack that they created for kids.
Okay.
And then shortly after I built that one, it took me like since I was 13 to start building it. And then about later on, I got very excited because my dad told me, he goes, oh yeah, by the way, I just got news that they're making a Ghostbusters Afterlife or whatever it is. I'm just like, you're kidding.
Right.
And next thing you know, both me and him were just like so ecstatic because we were just like, oh my god, because Ghostbusters is something that really connects me with my old man.
Right.
And then about after Afterlife had came out, I didn't get to see the movie just yet, but during Christmas, I got my first ever jumpsuit with the patch. As you can see here, this is actually the jumpsuit. And then I actually got my own custom-made name patch too.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and then I got a Ghostbusters hat and a new belt the other day, so I'm pretty happy about it.
So you're official now.
Yeah.
Now you just need to join a group. Now you just need to join a group.
Right?
Is there any groups around you?
If there's any consolation, the only group that I know that is near or around is the Arizona Ghostbusters, but I haven't gotten exactly a chance to contact these guys and be like, hey, I'm looking to join the team and all that stuff. Because I actually met them at Phoenix one time. It was like several years ago. It was like maybe 6 years ago I met them. And we were going to like this little Phoenix convention because, you know, why not? And we had like several other kids with us. And out of the corner of my eye, I see a giant, you know, inflatable Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I'm like, yo, that's cool. And right behind that Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, I just see the Arizona Ghostbusters with their, you know, the particle throwers, the Ecto-1. I saw everything, and I just started getting excited because I was just like, oh my God, my dream of meeting these guys in person is finally coming true.
Right.
And they had the totes with, you know, the little proton packs for the kids and all that stuff. And I just put one on, and next thing you know, I felt like a Ghostbuster because I was just like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. Yeah, and then next thing you know, they gave me like this glow-in-the-dark bracelet. Sadly, I don't have it anymore, but they gave me this cool little, you know, Arizona Ghostbusters, and it even had the logos on it, and it was glow-in-the-dark completely.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. And so nowadays, I'm just trying to, you know, look up some information, make sure that I can finish up my pack, and then see what teams I can possibly join, because I know that the Arizona Ghostbusters is the major one near me right now.
Yeah. And you just recently built a 3D printed one, correct?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did, and it is also attached to my Spangler's new Toronto one that Hasbro had released a couple years back prior. It's got the full-on military Elvis frame. It's got lights. I have to put a speaker in for the sounds, but this actually works and everything. You know, it's even got the little stuff right there. And, yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, the battery in my pack died.
Yeah.
The battery inside the pack, which is a 9-volt that I'm supposed to put in, had died. So I need to get a replacement, but other than that, like, it looks really good though.
Yeah, definitely does.
Oh yeah. Just recently, I finally got the light lens for the power cell, and then I finished up the whole cyclotron from the inside, and I got the light readjusted in here. So now everything looks 100% real.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to build my own as well. I have the full-size Spirit.
Oh yeah, I remember you showing me that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then yeah, because I remember I was looking at some advice for, like, say, the little nozzles that the Lakers elbow things that connect the wires and all that stuff. I remember you were giving me advice, and I saw those, and I was just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you planning on building the other props, or are you just planning on buying them?
At some point, I do plan to build a 3D printed ghost trap, because I've already got the PKE and all that stuff, but I need to get a better one because this is the one that they used for Afterlife. You know, the little kids' toys where they.
Oh yeah, I've seen so many people paint those black and add modifications into them.
I know. I just see that too, and I'm just like, why didn't Hasbro think of just making a black one?
Yep. Why blue?
But I guess they're just doing that to, you know, like you just said, light blue. I guess they're only doing that to pay homage to the real Ghostbusters in a sense. Because
I think it's because it's made for the blue proton pack that they have. That's just the front of the proton pack for the kids. Because it's made for that. It'll sit on that proton pack along with that wand that you can buy and all that stuff. Yeah, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I've got this little dinky guy right here.
Yep, that's the wand that goes to that blue proton pack.
Yep, I have that one. But I just don't have the pack itself because I'm like, it's a little hard to find nowadays because, you know, now that Frozen Empire had officially came out.
Yep.
Now they're just like kind of reproducing some of the toys that they had, but they're kind of making slight modifications.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Slimer! But yeah, so proton pack falling over and all that stuff.
So who is your favorite Ghostbuster?
My favorite Ghostbuster, I actually had two of them during the time, but my first ever favorite was actually, in fact, Peter Venkman, because he always had, because like I love comedians and all that stuff, and I love funny moments within movies, and Bill Murray knew how to throw them right out the book. Like, just like in the newer one, Frozen Empire, like he threw a joke in the trailer, it's all dark and horny at 12 o'clock. And like, I laughed hysterically. And just the fact that he goes, somebody blows their nose and you want to keep it while he's holding a little tiny little tub of the little slime that Egon wanted. But I loved Peter Venkman, but then I shortly realized that the dude can be a bit of a jerk sometimes, and I'm just like, ooh. Because you know how Peter in the cartoon, not just the cartoon, but in the movies, he tries to get himself laid.
Yeah.
I was just like, that's not what I'm about.
Funny story about Bill Murray. I actually just found this out. So I did a podcast with Joe Sorello.
Right.
And he told me that his wife went on set with him.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see this because I actually just did this podcast today. So you guys can actually go watch this podcast. But I talked to the cop from the scene where they shut down the containment unit. And he had told me that Bill Murray tried to come on to his wife.
Oh, you're talking about the guy. So you're talking about the guy that goes, "Hey, Pencil Neck, you do your job and I'll do mine." And then Bill Murray
he actually did that in the podcast too. So you guys can actually see him do that part. But he told me that his wife asked him for an autograph, and he told her that he would send it to her. And he sent it to her, and he had put on there, "Hey, your big can is blocking everybody's view. Bill Murray."
That does sound like something to say, though.
And the thing is, I could see Bill Murray doing something like that. But Bill Murray is always going to be my all-time favorite Ghostbuster because he is so fucking funny. He is freaking funny, man.
He always knows when to throw in time.
Yep. And did you know that in the scene where they're coming out of the ballroom, he actually made his own line for that part?
Oh, we came, we saw, we kicked his ass. Yeah.
Yep. So there's like 6 different ones of him coming out of that ballroom and saying different things. And when he came out saying that was the one they stuck with because it was the best one.
Not to mention it was unscripted, huh?
Yep.
That's the best.
And Joe Sorello told me that. He said that a lot of the stuff wasn't he said a lot of the stuff in that in that movie wasn't actually scripted. He said that a lot of it was your own lines.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I can only imagine what Harold Ramis said.
Oh yeah.
And that's another thing. Harold Ramis, Egon Spengler, he actually became my second favorite because I was also kind of doing some research on the proton packs while I was making one. I was trying to learn, all right, who made the proton packs? And it said that both Egon and Ray Stantz had created them. And then I realized that Egon was a real genius, and I started, improving my grades because I was inspired by his, scientist ways.
Mm-hmm.
And, learning how he built things. I'm just like, my God, I'm actually kind of similar to Egon. I like building my own things, and I'm really good at math, and I mastered my science class, so that's why I'm like,
yeah.
And he just overall became my favorite. I mean, yeah, sure, he does seem like he's always dull all the time, but once you really get to understand, who he is, he's just like, he's this funny guy if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, I was a bit sad when I heard that Harold Ramis had passed away back in 2014.
I was too.
I was just like, oh, man. Because now there's only 3 guys left.
Yep.
Danny, Bill, and Ernie.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only guys left. I mean, yeah, Janine's still around, and so is Dana Barrett, but unfortunately, it's sad that we don't have Louis Tully anymore because, Rick Moranis... Yeah. He has a lot of stuff going on with his family and all that stuff. Like, he has to take care of his family since his wife had passed away.
Yeah.
and I understand why he didn't come back for Afterlife to play as Tully.
And Frozen Empire.
Yep, that too. Went and saw that in theaters with the full uniform and everything.
I did too. Of course, you got to. We're Ghostbusters, man. We got to.
Right? Like, as soon as you hear that iconic proton pack sound in the theaters, you can expect us to book right in there.
Exactly. So out of all the Ghostbuster movies, what is your favorite one so far?
Personally, I would have to say my favorite one will always have to be the first movie, because there's always been something magical about the first movie that no one else can quite beat.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
Like, nothing's more better than seeing the old Stay Puft Marshmallow Man getting blown off the side of the building by a total protonic reversal.
That's probably what got me into it the most, is seeing the Stay Puft. I was like, wow.
Yeah, because both me and my dad both admitted this, but the amount of s'mores and the amount of marshmallows that you could use for toasting, all other stuff, like, you could use Stay Puft and he'd be a year supply worth of marshmallow goo. But then me and my dad at the same time, we were both thinking about it. We were like, well, considering how tall he is, both me and him would probably look up and be like, son of a bitch, you're big. Or I'd pull a Dan Aykroyd and just be like, and drop the cigarette out of my mouth.
What's your favorite scene? Is it the Stay Puft part?
No, my favorite scene is when they get into the elevator and, they're like, I just realized something. We haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment. And then both Egon were like, yeah, we blame ourselves and all that stuff. And then he goes, well, each and every single one of us is wearing a non-licensed nuclear accelerator on his back. And I was just like, yep. Because I see the things around their backs, and I'm like, man, I didn't see the back of it, like, way later until, like, later on in the movies, and I was just like, man. And then the scene where they switch on the proton pack, that's my favorite. It was right then and there when I started watching Ghostbusters that I knew I was going to love this movie. Because how could you not recognize that iconic sound?
Exactly.
Like, I just remember, also watching them, they come out of the elevator and, they're just, like, getting ready to, like, blast something. You can see that Ray, he's, like, grabbing his wine, he's just going with the thing, and Egon just pulls his out and he turns it on. Meanwhile, Peter still has his one holster, so it's like, oh, great, how are we going to do this shit? And then next thing you know, as soon as the maid comes around the corner, bah! They start blasting the shit out of it.
He says, what in the hell are you doing? Sorry, we thought you were somebody else.
Dude, that was the scene that completely did it for me. I was just like, yep, I love this movie.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just... Another thing that surprised me was that they brought back Gozer from Afterlife. Like, I was just like, holy crap. I do remember that it wasn't the last time I thought they were going to see her or it or whatever it wants to be. But I was very surprised that they brought Gozer back, because I was just like, holy crap, that's right. They weren't done.
Because technically she disappeared. She didn't really get defeated.
I mean, the most they did was they destroyed the form of the Destructor, Stay Puft. But that's all they did. They just defeated Stay Puft and crossed the streams, but they never officially got down with Gozer.
Yep.
They never fully tracked Gozer, nor did they get a single beam to actually hit her. Because what was that one word that Peter said? Oh, yeah. Nimble little minx, isn't she? But, dude, like, I just remember, because, like, I was watching the Afterlife trailer, and I see that there was a tear dog leg that just went right on the hood of Gruberson's car, and I was just like, oh, I know who you're gonna be. I sat there looking at the whole thing before they revealed the mini puffs and everything, because I saw the tear dog's leg, and I was just like, oh shit, I know who's coming back. Because for like a split second, I thought they were going to possibly bring back like a new villain from like say one of the comics or something, but they didn't. But they brought back Gozer, and I was just like, all right. And as soon as Frozen Empire started getting into like production, I was just like, originally the title name was going to be Hell's Kitchen. I was just like, I wonder who's going to be coming back in this one. Because I thought they were going to bring back Vigo, but then again, they actually officially they actually defeated Vigo back.
Yeah, they actually defeated Vigo.
Like then that's another thing, because like there was a whole lot of controversy about how the video games could be directly connected to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, well, there's something a little off of that.
So the Ghostbusters Remastered was supposed to, Ghostbusters video game in general was supposed to be considered Ghostbusters 3, but if in Frozen Empire and in Afterlife, they kind of go off of what was in the video game, but not all the way. And then, especially in Frozen Empire, they went big on like Spirits Unleashed. Like the Ghostbuster Spirits Unleashed, where the possessor would be in like the trash bags and stuff like that. That was fucking cool.
I saw awesome. That. It's like I was just like sitting there, like holding onto my hat in the theaters, and my girlfriend's sitting next to me too, because she took me to go see this movie.
Yep.
And she sees me going, "Oh shit!" Like that's the possessor from freaking Spirits Unleashed, and she goes, "What?" And I'm like, "You haven't played the game, have you?" I don't know anything about this game.
I mean, it was more of like a bunch of ghosts being able to possess stuff, but in the movie, it was just one possessor. It was like a ball.
Yeah.
It could jump around and possess different things.
Dude, like, I was surprised to even see that this thing was able to possess the damn pack.
Yep. The Ecto gets possessed in it, too. Did you notice that?
What was that?
The Ecto gets possessed.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
When the sewer monster comes through it, it possesses it for a minute and shuts everything down and all that.
Yep.
I've only got to see the movie once so far, and I can't wait for it to release on DVD because I'm ordering it off Amazon. That way I can get the movie itself and the digital version.
Dude,
for my collection, and I have the digital version where I can watch it wherever I want.
Dude, like for me, I have all three of the original movies, like, Ghostbusters 1, 2. I have Afterlife, and I also have the PS2 version of the video game. But once they release it out on DVD, I'm getting Frozen Empire. And I'm also putting some money aside to get like the full set of the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You definitely want to do that.
Oh, yeah. And then at some point, I'm also going to see if maybe they have the Extreme Ghostbusters, because I'm just like, I mean, the Extreme Ghostbusters is all right, but the thing that I hate the most is that they just let Egon be in there instead of having, like, all four of the original guys, like, giving these kids, like, pointers and tips and be like, hey, this is how you're supposed to do it. But they didn't do that until, like, the last few episodes. And I'm just like, wow. Didn't know Peter had arthritis after the age of 50. Like, they couldn't even fit in their suits. Because, like, you can see them struggling, too. They're just like, trying to get the freaking
yeah. I mean, the jumpsuits, man, they ain't no joke. I mean, hell, man, we could barely bend down and to tie our shoes, honestly.
Oh, I know. Especially with the belt right now. It's like I'm always having to do this, and I'm like trying to bend down, and I have the pack on. I'm like, it's nuts.
It is. So, do you ever go out in your Ghostbuster suit to anywhere?
It'll be on rare occasion. Maybe once in a blue moon, I'll just like hop on the suit or hop in this this thing and just kind of wander around, see what people would say, and I've had a few people go, "Hey man, I have a ghost in my house. Can you come and deal with it?" And I'm just like, I don't know how to respond to this, but I might as well just say, yeah, just call, the 1-888, Ghostbusters, and maybe one of us will show up. And they just completely laughed, and I was just like, well, at least somebody gets it.
What would be your favorite moment as a Ghostbuster cosplayer during something like that?
It's just the fact that I have people and I have kids that come up to me and they recognize me as being a Ghostbuster, and they always ask, for like photos, or they want to see the equipment, and, they want to hold the proton wand, and I'm just like, all right, just overall seeing these kids happy and adults happy puts a lot of joy in my heart, knowing that I'm like literally making someone's day better. Because that's all I want to do is like help people while I wear the suit.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
that's how I feel too.
Yeah, because sure, there's a deep connection with the franchise for me, but the thing is I want to help people feel better, like say children's hospitals, or like these little Comic Cons. Like, I want to start going to these and start like helping kids understand hey, this is what we do to help people. We want people to smile. Because I even had a kid say that I want to be a Ghostbuster just like you someday, and I'm just like, oh damn it, my heart.
Right.
Because again,
that's awesome.
And another thing is seeing how excited the kids get when I turn on the proton pack is just amazing. Because they would hear and they're like, "Wow, that's so cool!"
Right.
And I'm just like, it's what we use. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just seeing how much happiness that this Ghostbuster stuff can bring warms my heart.
It really is. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, my God, this is something that I want to do. Because like I remember I let one of the kids that I came across at our local mall, because we were doing some stuff with my friends. And all my friends were in their normal attire. Meanwhile, I was the only odd one out in this uniform. They're just like, dude, why are you wearing that stuff? And I was just like, why not? And they're like, okay, fair point. I mean, this is practically who you are. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. Aside from being Batman or a Transformers geek, like, I'm mostly recognized for this in my town. Because I got called Flagstaff's local Ghostbuster by the mayor at one point. Because like I actually met the mayor of Flagstaff at one point, and then she came up to me and she goes, "Hey, I haven't seen a costume like that since I was a kid." And I'm just like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." So I guess now we can officially say that Flagstaff has a local Ghostbuster, and I'm just like, "Indeed, you do." Because let me tell you, Honor, I'm glad to say that I can be Flagstaff's, only Ghostbuster, because I'm the only one that they know about.
Right. Heck yeah.
Because when I went into the mayor's office at one point during the Halloween event, I was just like so close to going, "Lanny, you will have saved the lives of many registered voters." I was so tempted to, but then I was just like, "No."
That would have been funny. You should have. You definitely should have.
Yep. And then there's actually, funny enough, there's one time I was actually hanging out with my friends at a little tiny place called the Rec Center that we have here in town. I was dressed up in full gear and everything. And then there was somebody that had a little bit of a conniption fit with my outfit. Because they're like, "Oh my God, it looks like they're wearing a nuclear bomb." And I'm just like, well, I mean, technically they're not wrong, because there is a little hint of nuclear stuff inside of the proton packs, inside the booster frame. That's where the nuclear stuff is located. And they're just like, "Yeah, it looks like a bomb. We need to get this man arrested because he is, blah, 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 blah." And I was just like, oh, so we got a male version of a Karen. Oh, wait, dickless. And like literally.
You actually say that?
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, no thanks to Dickless the Clown over here. I'm in trouble because he thinks that this is a bomb, even though I built it. And they're like, okay, and like literally the main the front lady is laughing hysterically because I know what she's thinking about right now. And because she came up to me later on after the whole situation was, averted and all that stuff, and I was pretty good. I was good on their accounts. It's just homeboy who was complaining got kicked out for disturbing peace. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, kind of taking my pack off for a second. And then, like, literally, the front lady comes up to me and she goes, "Man, that was hilarious the way you handled that guy." And I was just like, "What do you mean by that?" And I'm just sitting there, like, laughing a little bit because I'm like, okay, how much of it did you hear? And they're like, and she literally comes up to me and she goes, "I haven't seen anybody have an argument in a Ghostbuster suit since I first saw the movie. That was amazing. And the fact that you even called him dickless, that was amazing too." Because, like, she told me that she had lost it after I said this.
That is funny as shit.
And I'm sitting there like, well, this is hands down one of the most interesting moments of my time being a Ghostbuster. And, like, literally, the day my dad had gone to pick me up from the rec center, I told him the whole damn story, and he was dying for 20 minutes straight.
I bet.
Because he goes, "Dude, honestly, I would have recorded that shit and posted it." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I would have too, but here's the issue: I don't have my phone." But it was just hilarious.
Oh, man.
And funny fact, he even looked like Vulture Pack. He was in the fancy suit and everything.
Was he a pencil head?
Yep, he was a pencil neck already.
You do your job, pencil head. Don't tell me how to do mine.
Woo, dude.
Shout out to Joe. Oh, man.
Oh, man. If I ever get to meet Joe, I'm going to tell him, "Dude, you're a genius for saying that line." That's only if I ever get to meet him, because one of these days, maybe.
All right. So,
Camera goofing up a little?
well, like the most? Do you like the Ecto 1, the Ecto 1A, the Frozen, or the Afterlife version, or the Frozen Empire version the best?
Personally, I'm gonna have to say I like the Ghostbusters 2 version, the Ecto 1A, was it?
Yep. The Ecto 1A is from Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, I like the Ecto 1A because when I saw those cool lights and the "we're back and ready for hire" sign that they had on there, I was just like, man, that is cool. And I also love the original car itself because I just remember seeing that scene where
Yeah.
their first call, they just they roll up in the Ecto 1 and all you see is the side of the door from the Ecto 1 just like halt for a second. And then I just remember hearing, "We got the car!" Because, like, I actually have a small miniaturized model of the Ecto 1 right here. Like, this is the one that I have.
We are cutting out extremely bad. I hope it don't get that. It is storming really bad. That's probably why. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, see, you just went out again. There you are. You're back.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. It's just the camera's cutting out.
Okay, so you can still hear me just fine then. when
Yeah,
it
it's just sometimes.
happens.
Yeah, sometimes like you'll like cut out a little
Okay,
bit every
that's
now and
fine then. Okay. Yeah, you see, you're doing this. Um, if you could have dinner with one Ghostbuster, who would it be and why?
Oh, Ernie Hut, Winston Zedmore, dude. Honestly, if I were to have dinner with Winston Zedmore, I would also have like a down to earth conversation with the guy because like he is one of the most serious sons of bitches you'll ever meet on that team.
Yeah.
Plus, not to mention, he probably tells some very hilarious things. Like, you know, he'll probably even say, I have seen shit that'll turn you white.
That is one of my favorite lines from him.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, another thing is like when he's brutally honest, like how he was during his first day of, you know, the interview with Janine while she's asking him like 101 different questions. And
Mhm.
then, you know, like she goes, do you believe in extraterrestrials, the theory of Atlantis, and the Loch Ness monster? And he's just sitting there like, you are out of your goddamn mind. Because like I could tell it on his face. He's just like, what in the hell? And then he goes, if there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
Yep.
And I was
And
just
then
like,
you get and then the first job he goes on is fighting freaking Gozer.
well, I mean, actually, he's actually been working for the company for at least a couple of weeks from until
Oh
then.
well, yeah, that's true. But in the movie, the first job we actually see him go on is with
Is
Gozer.
is Gozer. And he goes, because like I remember in the video game, there was a little bit of dialogue that he had where he goes, huh, "You just saved the world, kid." And he goes, "Well, I mean, on my first day, I saved the world, so I can't really, you know, complain." And I was just like,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense
Mm-hmm.
because like you can tell that you can definitely have a down to earth conversation with him. Because in that one scene where they're all in the car and you know they're talking about you know Revelation 6:12 or 7:12,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Judgment
know
Day.
yeah, yeah, like they were just like sitting there and they were like having a down to earth conversation about it. And then next thing I love how because like I like to compare Winston to my dad in a sense because
Mm-hmm.
my dad is a very down to earth person and so is Winston. And there was a scene that I could relate to most was when they're like, "How about some music?" And Winston goes with a cigarette and he goes, "Yeah." That reminded me of my dad in several ways because I'm just like both me and my dad are the same way. So that's why I feel like I would get along with Winston so well.
Yeah.
Oh man, good
If you
times,
ever
good times.
caught a ghost, would you keep it?
Huh?
If you ever caught a ghost, would you keep it?
Oh yeah, I'd study it. Maybe not
Same.
as up, maybe not as up close like Slimer, but I would try my best. Just one thing is for certain: make damn sure that's not a possessor.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Personally, yes, I do.
Do you?
I I've actually had quite a few paranormal experiences in my life because there was this one time, believe it or not, it was before Christmas. It was like Christmas Eve night or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it wasn't the you know the three spirits of Christmas. As funny as it would have been, I would have been like, all right, fine, let's get this done with. But
Mm-hmm.
no, my first experience was, you know, I was getting ready for bed. You know, I had my little bunk bed. I was like maybe 6 years old at the time. And I was just like sitting there getting ready. I was brushing my teeth. And after that, I kind of went up into my bunker and I went to like, you know, readjust the whole thing. And I kid you not, I saw something that was looming over me like a dark shadow that looked like
Mm-hmm.
this. Like it was doing that, and I could see the outline of the head, and I almost could have saw the outline of the face. And then I just saw the whole body, and it scared the ever living shit out of me. So my first instinct as a little kid was to grab my blanket and just go, you know.
Right.
And about like maybe 5 or 6 seconds later, I take it off. The thing was gone. Not to mention, I've had like a few experiences. Because my dad's also a bit of a paranormal investigator himself. Like he's
Yeah,
had
I am too.
like ghost stuff actually runs in my family, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like, my dad went down to the infamous Devil's Chair that was in Flagstaff near Mount Eldon.
Yep. I've
It
heard
is,
about that. Sam and
it,
Colby went there before.
yeah, my uncle almost got thrown off a cliff there by something mysterious. And he
Jesus.
stopped dead center before he could have fell off. And another experience is that my dad, he's also dealt with somebody who had a printed copy of the Necronomicon. And there was a lot of weird stuff that had happened. When they went to go burn the book because of how evil it was, they heard the sound of horse carriages going all around them, and there was no one there.
Jesus.
Not a person. And after the book was
I
fully
believe it.
burned, they even heard like what sounded like Indians yelping at the same time.
I believe it.
And my dad's just sitting there and he's going, "What the fuck?" You know? And I'm just like, I honestly don't blame him for reacting like that. Because I would have reacted the same way. I would have been like, scared shitless. I would have been like holding onto my steering wheel, just like. But no, like they were burning the book. But my God, like that's another thing, because like I do believe that there is a real Necronomicon, a book of evil, just as much as I do believe that, stuff like from The Exorcist, like, Pazuzu and all that other stuff, like I am very aware that these hauntings were based off of true stories. Like The Nun, The Conjuring, and Annabelle. I know that what got me into paranormal investigating and all that stuff wasn't just because of my dad, but because I also started getting into Ed and Lorraine Warren's world. Because I watched a documentary based off of, Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I started falling in love with, how they did all their paranormal, they conducted all these, like, paranormal events and research, and they even took in cursed items into their own little shop. I started seeing, and I was just like, holy crap, that is amazing. And then later on, that's when I got introduced to Ghostbusters. Because I've had experiences, my dad's had experiences, my mother, my sister, like almost everybody in my family could have had an experience with an entity of some sort. And I also have a friend who happens to be in my high school. He's actually one of the janitors, but his name is Isidro. He's actually a paranormal investigator himself, because he just got an EVP recorder. He's got like ghost detecting devices and all this other stuff that you would typically see in, like, say Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters. You would see this equipment, and I was seeing this equipment for myself, and I was just like, holy shit, this is the real deal. And I actually got my first ever real investigation.
Heck yeah! So you've been on a paranormal investigation then?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Heck yeah! Man, it's fun, ain't it?
Oh yeah, it's fun.
It really.
It can also be a little nerve-wracking at times.
You can say all you want that you don't believe in ghosts, but after you actually get out there and experience it, like firsthand, and know how everything's set up for the investigation and everything, and you start getting into it, and it's fucking like so active, you're gonna walk out of there and you're gonna go from at least a 1 to at least a 5 or 6,
Right?
depending on how active that entity is.
Like, dude, I kid you not, there was.
I didn't believe it as much as when I first started, but dude, ever since I've actually started doing paranormal investigating, I believe it so much more. Even though I've seen a ghost when I was younger, I actually watched a woman, because I told Austin this story too.
Oh.
So I had this room that was a bunk bed. I was on top bunk, my brother was on bottom bunk, and our door was right next to the bathroom. So here's our door, the bathroom's like this. I watched this woman in a white dress come out of the bathroom right past my door into the living room. And the next day, my mom told me that because it's literally it was a 1-bedroom apartment. And here's my room. Here's the bathroom. and then there's like a small hallway, and it has like a small kitchen, and then it was like a full living room, and that was it. That was all that was in the house. My mom said that they watched a lady in white walk out of the hallway, through the coffee table, and out the front door the next day. And honestly, I thought it was a dream. I really had forgotten about it, like over time. But my mom reminded me of it one time, and I was like, "Holy crap! I remember that." So that was another reason why I wanted to actually get into paranormal investigating, because, like, I know it's real, but it's hard for you to actually believe that even sitting right here talking with you, there could be someone right here watching me.
Oh yeah, just as much
And
as
I
there
don't
could,
even know it.
yeah, just like behind
There
me as
could be
well.
somebody right behind you right now.
And I wouldn't know about it.
Yep. And they say that when you get, that thing where you go, like
Where you get the little
sometimes,
jitter.
like a little chill, that's actually a ghost passing through your body.
Thank God,
So
ectoplasm
even
did.
being on the highway, and if you get a cold chill, that means that a spirit just passed through you, and guarantee that they were probably walking on the highway because that's how they died. So when you get that chill, that's a spirit going through your body.
I've experienced that at least 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when
Yep.
I'm going down Highway 89. Oh my God.
Yep.
Like,
It's a
and it was even
spirit
at dead at
passing
night
through your
too.
body.
It was even at dead at night. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could not see anything.
Yep.
I was just like walking back home from McDonald's, and there was not even a single gust of air. It was like summer, right? I'm getting back because I was just like, all right, you know what? Yeah, I might as well bring home some McDonald's for both me and my dad. And next thing you know, I'm walking through, and it's warm as all hell, and I'm having to take off my jacket because I'm just like, it's not that cold. And next thing you know, freaking the giant, most chillest air and like feeling came across my back all the way to my front, and I'm just sitting there like, right?
Yep.
And I'm sitting there staring, going, "What the hell?" Because I'm like, I have not felt that at all. And then next thing you know, I was just like, okay, I know it's not the drinks that I'm holding, because yeah, I had a couple of milkshakes, but I was holding the cardboard, little cardboard strainer thingy
Yeah.
that they usually give out nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing there just contemplating, like, what the hell just happened? Even my dad
Right.
had a way experience. I kid you not. This is what he told me. My dad told me that he was driving all the way back, from the house all the way to work because he works at the Walmart and he had to go at 5 in the morning, and it was still dark as all hell. And I kid you not, this is what my dad told me. He goes, "Yeah, I was just driving. Our neighbor Jen was in front of us, and she wasn't the only person that saw this. But on the highway, I saw this black mass come up to a stranger who was walking in the highway, and it looked like he entered his body." The reason why I can say that is because I saw his whole body just go like that. And I'm just like, no fucking way. I'm sitting there looking at him like, when did this happen? And he goes, earlier this morning, dude. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me earlier?
Wow. Did you ever see the video of I think it was a semi. Something walked across the highway, and next thing you know, I guess the semi guy saw it, and all of a sudden he causes a big accident on the highway. It was like some video, and on the video you can actually see something go across the highway, and the guy actually saw it and ended up causing a whole big accident.
What, did he try taking a turn to avoid it?
Yeah, he swerved, and when they asked him about it, why he swerved like that, he said, "I swear, I just saw somebody walking on the highway." And when they didn't believe him because there was nobody in sight. But when they went back and looked at the footage of the highway, It actually shows somebody walking across the highway, and you see the semi fucking swerve over. And they after that they believed him 100% about what happened.
Son of a
Look
bitch.
at like Ghost on Highway semi swerves or something like that, and I'm sure you'll find it, dude. It was insane.
I believe it because I have seen a lot of strange stuff on roads. Like, there's, like, I've actually, there was one night me and my dad were driving home and we were just sitting there chilling. We were just both shooting the shit and, laughing our asses off because, why not? Because, it was a long day and we were getting home from Phoenix. And we're just driving by and I kid you not, there was something that walked up as well. Like, it went like this and it paused right before we even almost hit it.
Right.
Sitting there on the passenger side going, what the, because as soon as I because I was just checking my phone, seeing what's new on TikTok, and like I look up for a split second and I hear, oh shit, from my dad. And next thing you know, freaking this ghost just shows up out of nowhere. We almost hit it and we thought it was a real person. We went to look back, not a single thing. Not a single damn person was there.
Jesus.
And because both me and my dad, we were both like literally out of the car and I had my flashlight on me and I'm just sitting there looking at it like, because like he has his flashlight pointing towards the front and I'm pointing mine towards the, the back. And I'm just like looking around to see if there was any damage on the car, maybe there was a dent because it sounded like we almost hit something, but there was just a pothole that we hit and we saw that. And I was just like, okay, that makes a lot of sense now. And I was just like, okay, that's one thing debunked. And I'm looking at my dad. I'm like, do you see what I saw? And he goes, oh, I saw what you saw. If you didn't see anything, you might as well be nuts. And I'm just like, fuck. And after that home, we just because after that we just got home like 1 hour later, and oh my god, that was a nightmare.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's why I'm like very well acquainted with paranormal activity, because I'm like, shit. And I kid you not, I've also seen some stuff in forests. There was one time me and my girlfriend were walking to the Mount Eldon, the mountain that we have next to us.
Yeah.
We were just sitting there, kind of chilling, and we kid you not, we heard this eerie, like what sounded like howling. It didn't sound like a coyote. It sounded like, big creature-ish almost.
Sounds like a skinwalker.
Yeah, that's what we heard. And I'm sitting there. She's holding on to me because she goes, babe, do you hear that? And I'm like, what? What's up? And I took out my earbud for a second. And we hear like this like some sort of like sound.
That is 100% a skinwalker.
And I'm sitting there going, motherfucker. And like right now, I have chills talking about this because I'm just like, oh my god. Because she's literally like, she's grasping onto my arm. And I was wearing the jumpsuit too, because it was a little dirty that day.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and she goes, what the hell is that? Oh my god, oh my god. And I'm like, we need to get the fuck out of here now. And we just right out from the woods. After that, we went right back to her dorm, and we were just like, no, we are not going out there again. And then at some point, I actually took a photo around this little woods area, because it was the same spot where I've seen some paranormal activity, and there weren't any animals around us at all. I was with my buddy Cody. We were in the same convenient spot where that howling took place. And I snapped a photo in the dark, and I swear, I kid you not, I caught 2 red eyes gleaming back.
Jesus.
No other creature was there. I saw it, and I looked at Cody, and I said, dude, you're not going to believe what I caught, but if I show you this right now, you're going to fucking cry. And we later booked home, and I swear it felt like we were being watched. I'm standing there, I'm walking around, I'm like, I really wish I had a gun on me, because I'm sitting there, kind of walking like this, and Cody's just sitting there like, what's your problem? What's your problem, Jess? Because, everybody knows me as Jesse, most of my friends, because that's my real name.
Yeah.
But, like Cody was looking at me, and he goes, Jesse, what's going on? And I'm like, you don't want to know right now. Right now, let's just focus on getting back to the house, and I'll explain. And so the whole entire damn thing was silent. And I kid you not, we heard twigs breaking right behind us as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back, and I swear I could have saw something in the tree. It looked like something was like hanging around the tree like this, with both its hands, and its claws were long.
Right.
Yeah, its claws were long, and its face was pale, and it had like 2 dark spots for eyes. And I talked to my dad about this. And he looks at me and he goes, "You just came across a tree hopper."
A what?
I'm just like, a tree hopper.
A tree hopper?
Yep.
I can't say I've ever heard that word before. I've heard of like skinwalker and like
tree
ghost and a spirit.
So basically, tree hoppers are essentially like, forest ghosts. But here in Flagstaff, that's what we call them. Because like they're tall, almost Slenderman-like. They have a white pale face with 2 dots. But here's the thing. You can see them from time to time hopping through the trees at night. And my dad has seen this when he was a kid as well. Because like when I described it to him, he said, "Oh, that's a tree hopper. I've dealt with one of those as a kid." Because there's another story that he has where he told me, he goes, "Yeah, there was actually this one time, my whole high school didn't believe me when I told him that there was something in the woods." And I was just like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah. My whole entire school came in, and they went around the woods, and sure enough, they saw one of those things, and they all screamed like a bunch of little sissies and just ran right out."
Jeez.
I laughed at that too. And he then tells me, and he goes, "However, these things do have a power of following you." And I'm just like, oh, shit. Because when I told him that I came across one later on that night, he goes, "You better make sure you weren't followed." And I said, "Oh, I was watching my 6 the entire time. I had Cody with me."
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he goes, "All right." And he goes, let me tell you about something that I saw, or that I heard from one of my friends. One of my friends had also conveniently met a tree hopper, or whatever they call them anymore. And he goes, this thing was following. You could hear laughing, like evil laughing, like, something that you would hear out of like a villain from like a comic book or something. It was like laughing, and I kid you not, this dude came across one of these things, and as he got closer to it, it was wearing like a little black hat and a trench coat somehow. And as he got closer, this thing started getting a grin. And as he got closer and closer, the whole thing went from like all the way here to here. The grin was that. Yeah. And I'm sitting there listening to this. I was just like, Jesus Christ, is this what I seen? And he goes, maybe. And he tells me, he goes, when he went to go back to his car, he booked it. He shut the door. He went to catch his breath, and he was holding onto the steering wheel like this. He looked to his side, the driver's seat. He looked over just to see the thing with its claws doing this, with its big smile just going. And it scared the shit. He started his engine so fast, and he just. And I'm sitting there listening to this like, holy shit. And I'm like, wow. And that's why I refuse to go back into Mount Eldon during the night, unless if I have somebody.
Oh yeah, definitely. We are at our hour. Is there any shout outs that you want me to do for you? Your TikTok, your Instagram, anything like that?
Give him a shout out.
What do you want me to put in here for you?
So my TikTok, of course, it's CAL35, and then
Yep.
my other one is Ghostboy1984 on Instagram.
Okay. If you want, just send them to me in Messenger, and I will put them right here for you. That way, just mark them like Instagram, TikTok, and I'll put them in the video for you.
Mhm.
Cal, I've got one more question for you.
What's that?
Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters. We're ready to leave you.
We're ready to believe you. All right, buddy. Well, it has been a pleasure having you on the podcast. I hope that you had a great time, and I will talk to you soon, buddy.
Yeah, I'll see you on the TikTok live or something.
Oh yeah, definitely. I will see you soon.
Oh, and real quick, shout out to Austin for being amazing to me, because he's actually the first Ghostbusters friend that I made here on TikTok. So shout out to him, and then shout out to you, man. Like,
thank you. I appreciate it, buddy.
You guys have been great to me, and honestly, I couldn't have asked for nothing more than having a few Ghostbusters brothers with me.
So it's a pleasure having you as a friend, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, and thanks for having this podcast with me. I'm really glad that I got to do this interview with you. And
hey, man, I had a blast.
Oh yeah.
And your video will be up next Wednesday, so be on the lookout, my guy.
Sounds good.
All right, you have a ghost-busting day.
You too, and don't cross the streams.
Exactly. Have a good one, Cal.
You too, man.
All right, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that notification bell for all upcoming videos, and I will see you in the next one. We ain't afraid of no ghost. Have a ghost busting day.